We're live. Okay, so we're live. All right. So what is good, everybody? To Chris Levi, the prophecy. And before I start this video, I like y'all to hit the like button and please subscribe. That will obviously help my channel and share if you would like. Now, today's video is a little bit of a spicy video, hot topic. Who do you think will win Rookie of the Year? Is it Malik Neighbors? Is it Marvin Harrison? Or is it Roma Doomsday? Now, for me, they're three different receivers. I know they all play the same position, but they play different. You know, one might be a possession receiver, one might be a speed burner, one might be just a down the field threat. You know what I'm saying? Um, but for me, my personal opinion, I want Roma Doomsday to win the Rookie of the Year. Now, it will not happen because the NFL tends to go for the more splashier player, right? You look at how Odell won his Rookie of the Year. You look at his draft class; it wasn't even close. You had Marvin, not Marvin Harrison. You had who was in that draft class? Um, Hold on, let me see. You had Mike Evans. You had Sammy. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up right now. So this is the 2014 draft class. Obviously, Houston Texans had their first overall pick. St. Louis, Jags, Buffalo, Oakland, Atlanta, Tampa, Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit, Tennessee, and then the Giants. So I'm just gonna list all the receivers that was in that draft class. Okay, so defensive end, tackle, quarterback. Okay, so the first receiver off the board was obviously Sammy Watkins. He went to the Buffalo Bills. Now, they could have picked Odell. Buffalo, imagine, Odell going to Buffalo. Um, so Sammy Watkins was the first player off the board, followed by Mike Evans. Mike Evans was the second receiver off the board, followed by Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. was the 12th receiver taken off the board. Okay. And then obviously Aaron Donald, like the New York Giants could have picked Aaron Donald, because obviously, the New York Giants, obviously picked 12. They could have gone any direction. Um, who else? And after that, Aaron Donald, Cal Fuller, Ryan Vashier, Zach Martin, CJ Mosley, and then Brandon Cooks was also in that 2014 draft class. And after that, it was Kevin Benjamin going to the Carolina Panthers. And then after that, it was none. So you had one, two, three, four, and five. So you had five receivers going in the first round. And then obviously in the second round, nobody picked receivers until the third round. They picked Dante Mountain guy who will be doing those ridiculous dances. And then you had Dari Archie, who was like a speed burner. But he was mainly put on punt returns. And then in the fourth round, you had Bruce Ellington. And then after that, nobody even picked receivers until the fourth round, which was Shaquille Evans from the New York Jets. And then Martavius Bryant, everybody knows. I remember Martavius Bryant. Um, and then after that, Kevin Norwood, And then after that, it was just a whole bunch of defensive players, quarterback, linebacker, running back, tackle. And then in the fifth round, Ryan Grant went to Washington. Obviously, I think he got cut and signed with the Packers. And then after that, it was Devin Street. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, that was it. I think for the fifth round. Oh yeah, Jared Jared was picked. Jared was picked. Green Bay. Yeah, he was picked. The last receiver in the fifth round was Jared. He was picked 176 fifth overall from the Packers. And then after that, Robert Heron was picked Tampa. Um, and then after that, it was T.J. Jones, and then it was Matt Hazel, and then after that, it was Walt, and so on and so forth. So five receivers was picked in the first round. Five, okay. None of them popped. You know, so obviously Odell Beckham Jr. was a clear runner for Rookie of the Year, even though he missed most significant games. You know, I think he missed 4 or 5 games. He came back, and that's when Victor Cruz got hurt that Thursday night or that Sunday night football, and then he just took you know I think he finished with like 12 touchdowns. You know, like a lot of people were saying, if Odell wasn't hurt, he would have probably, eclipsed Randy Moss's record. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe Randy Moss had at least 16 touchdowns, or I think he had like 15, somewhere behind those lines. Hold on, let me look it up. Randy Moss rookie year. Now, obviously, he did start all 16 games. Um, so Randy Moss was born February 13th, 1977. He's currently age 47. So obviously, he is my twin. We just born in a different era. Obviously, he was born in the 70s. I was born in the 90s. So obviously, um, that's why I always have a soft spot for Randy Moss, because I wasn't really into zodiac signs like that. So he has 500. No, he has 156 touchdowns. He has 15,292 receiving yards. He's been to 6 Pro Bowls. He was the class of 2018, and he spent 14 seasons. And then obviously in that he was in that um, he was in that what do you call it, legendary team in New England. So 1998, he was a rookie. Games played 16. Yeah, his rookie year, he scored 17 touchdowns. And then after that, 11, 15, 10, 7, 17, 13, 8, 3, 23. Obviously, he had that breakout performance in 2007 where he scored like 23 touchdowns in one season. He had 11 after that, 13, 2. No, he had 13, 3, 2, 0. And his last game was not against, but his last game was in Carolina, no, in San Francisco, when they had went to when they had went to the Super Bowl, and he only scored 3 touchdowns, 434 yards. So yeah. So his rookie year, he scored 17 touchdowns. His rookie year, he scored 17 touchdowns. So, like I said, I want Roma Doomsday to win Rookie of the Year because I think he's just a more polished receiver than Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison. Um, but if you want to go to your if you want to go to your predecessors, you would say Roma Doomsday is more like Julio Jones, right? Malik Nabers is more like Odell Beckham Jr., right? And Malik Nabers is more like no Marvin Harrison is more like Johnny Knox. If y'all remember Johnny Knox from the Bears, like very polished receiver, you know, he was more of a possession receiver than he was a receiver because you have like different receiver types. Um, but I don't know. This draft class is going to be very interesting because again, those five receivers that went in the first round, none of them could have none of them could have hold a candle to Odell Beckham Jr. Even with Odell missing the games that he missed, the significant amount of games that he missed, he still made up for it, and he still won Rookie Year of the Year. Not only he won Rookie of the Year, he won Player of the Year, which obviously we lost, but obviously nobody wasn't really cared about that loss. Everybody was just talking about that catch. Um, but I do believe that it's going to be a thick competition, and the only way Malik Nabers can win Rookie of the Year is if he gets out of the gate fast. Like I'm not saying that for the Giants to force feed him the ball. I'm really not because I don't want him to be force fed because we got other receivers that needs the ball too. There's only one quarterback, one ball. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't want this to be a Odell Beckham Jr. 2.0 disaster, where we just kept on feeding him the ball and feeding him the ball because he was only best weapon, And I don't view, and I get it. A lot of Giants fans were saying that Malik Nabers is, like, to me, he's not a number one receiver. To me, I think Jalen Hyatt is more of a number one. He's just not getting the touches that he needed. Now, I look back at Jalen Hyatt's highlights college and when he obviously was with the Giants. And they utilized him more in college than they did in the NFL when he was with the Giants. Um, I don't know why he wasn't featured in the offense early, you know. But I do believe he's going to have one of those breakout years. Just like how Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks, especially Hakeem Nicks, when he had that 2010 breakout year, what I'm saying? Um, like he strikes me as a Hakeem Nicks type of dude, and I loved Hakeem Nicks and coming out of North Carolina. I was a Tar Heel fan. I just didn't have a phone at the time, or I didn't even have YouTube at the time. You know, I just watched it as a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have anything to unless you count Facebook. But other than that, I've been a huge, North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I need to buy some content. I need to buy some things too. I need to buy like I don't know, because before the NFL, I was a huge college football fan. You know what I'm saying? My two teams were LSU and North Carolina, and they still are. I just haven't been watching a whole bunch of college games. Um, but I need to buy some accessories though. I need to buy some LSU accessories and North Carolina, because I had some, I had bought some, but like we would just keep on moving and stuff like that, so it just got lost. So yeah, um, but it's gonna be a tight competition. It's going to be a very, very, very tight competition. Um, but like I said, the two receivers that I mentioned, Roma Doomsday and Marvin Harrison Jr., they have quarter. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to be like these other sheeps that says, "Oh well, he don't have nobody to throw to." He does have somebody to throw to. It's just not the guy. You know, like Marvin Harrison has Kyler Murray throwing him the ball. Kyler Murray's no slouch. He just can't stay healthy. That's his only problem. He can't stay healthy, and he's undersized. So was Drew Brees, but those are two totally different quarterbacks. Um, but Drew Brees was undersized, and he made up for it. So and another thing is, um, Roma Doomsday, he has a rookie throwing him the ball, so it's a rookie to rookie connection. You know, um, and sometimes rookie to rookie connections always connect. You know, um, is always connect. They always connect. You know, um, but when you have a rookie versus a guy who's been in the league for 6 years, and you know, like now this is the time for Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones to get on the same page, because I don't want this friction between them two. And Daniel Jones is not getting Malik Neighbors the ball, and you know how Malik Neighbors is. Like he's very passionate about wanting to play, and if he's not getting the ball, it's going to be frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember in the interview when he was being interviewed, not Joe, Brian Dable said the same thing. Like, what is your reaction if you're not getting the ball? Like, are you going to, motivate the other receivers around you, or are you just going to, pout and, like, and he says that, oh, I get frustrated too. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to harness that, which is hard to say to a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's his job, is to catch the balls. You know. Um, but if you go back and look at how Odell Beckham Jr. was utilized, he wasn't utilized the right way. I'll be the first person to say it. Um, like for me, again, I wanted Aaron Rodgers. No, not Aaron. I said Aaron Rodgers. I wanted Aaron Donald or Mike Evans. Now I know those two was not going to fall in our possession, so the best bet was to obviously pick Odell Beckham Jr. Um, but I wanted Mike Evans because I like tall receivers. You know what I'm saying? Not in that aspect, but I just like tall because I'm a tall person myself. I'm 6'2", so I never liked the short receivers. For one, they're only utilized one way. You know, like I think the difference between short receivers and tall receivers is tall receivers you can move them around. You can move around short receivers as well, but the difference is, those tall receivers can get you those 50-50 balls because they have long arm radius. Like I could count how many times Eli Manning overthrew that ball or overthrew that ball, and Plaxico Burress had to, catch it, bobble it with one hand, and still caught it. You know what I'm saying? You can't get that from a miniature receiver like Odell, because his arms is not that long. Like yeah, he might be fast, but he doesn't have the arm length. And I can count how many times Eli Manning overthrew him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want that friction between him and Daniel Jones, But it's going to be a tight race. It's going to be a tight race. But my pick is Roma Doomsday. I know I want to say Malik Neighbors because he's the more flashier player out of the two, but he's going to have to work for it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be utilizing the offense more. How many touches, how many targets, how many touchdowns he's going to have. Now, if you look at not Malik, if you look at Marvin Harrison, he doesn't really have a whole lot to work with, you know? He has Kyler Murray coming back from his injury. I think they still have Hollywood Brown. If you look at the Bears, I mean, obviously, I don't know what the Bears situation is looking like at receiver. Um, but it's going to be a pitch and catch between him and Roma Doomsday. I wanted a Roma Doomsday. I wanted the Giants to pick Roma Doomsday because, for one, he knows the area. He's from the area. He's used to playing. He's used to playing in cold climates. Those LSU boys don't like the weather. Don't they? I'm not gonna say they don't like the weather, but they don't like cold climates. They don't like to play in cold climates. They really don't. As an LSU fan since 2000 and no, I became an LSU fan 2008. They don't like the cold climates. They're more tropical. You know what I'm saying? They like they just like the warm weather type, because they coming from LSU, and LSU is in the South, so it kind of makes sense. But Roma Doomsday obviously played in cold weather. Same thing with Marvin Harrison, Ohio State. Where's Ohio State? Like Midwestern. So they used to playing in cold climates. Malik Neighbors not so much. Even though he played in cold climates before, he's just he's just not used to it. I just feel like he's just not used to it. And with the receivers that the Giants have, Malik Neighbors, I'm not counting himself. You got Wandell, you got Hyatt, you got Slayton, you got Hodgkinson, you got two other receivers that you picked up in the free agency plus Malik Neighbors. It's going to be a battle, you know, versus Odell. Like you look at what Odell had to work with: rookie Shepard, Victor Cruz, you know, Odell obviously himself. So it was easy for Eli Manning to just force feed him the ball because he had no competition. He had no, ace one. Like everybody was waiting for him and Odell to pop. I mean, for everybody was waiting for Victor Cruz and Odell to pop. They just never mesh. Like their chemistry was just not there. So how come Toomer, who's been with the Giants for a very long time, and Plaxico Burrs, who was signed as a free agent, their chemistry just worked. You know, like their chemistry just worked. Steve Smith, who was a rookie at the time, they just all meshed together. So it didn't really matter who was the number one receiver. They played as a unity. All this number one receiver bull crap is stupid to me. Because again, I don't view Malik Neighbors as a number one. He doesn't have that number one quality to me. I don't view him as a team player. I view him as more of a me player. Same thing with Odell. Odell was not a team player. He really wasn't. You could tell he wasn't. You know, you can always tell when a person like Julio Jones was a team player. Larry Fitzgerald was a team player. Calvin Johnson was a team player. Chad, not so much. OT, Terrell Owens, not so much. Randy Moss, later on in his career, he molded into that, leadership role. You know what I'm saying? Um, but you either have it or you don't, Leadership skills is something that you don't just harness, or leadership skills is something that you just don't bite overnight or get overnight. You just have to be born with it. And some players are not born with it, and it's okay. You know, just like how we bashed Kevin Durant, like, you know, like I was just watching the game yesterday. You think Kevin Durant would have willed that team back together? Hell no. They would have just folded and just go on to the next game. But LeBron James, with his leadership skills that he harnessed early on in his career, he obviously put that team on his back, and they, you know, down, what was it? I think they were down like 44 points. He willed that team back, and that's what you look for in a player, leadership role. Like the more I look back at that interview with the Roma Doomsday, he said everything right. He said everything right. Now, not Mike Evans, but Marvin Harrison said some things that rubbed them the wrong way. You know, like I remember in that interview, he said that Brian Dable said that okay, in that situation, because they was like going, they was going around, they was going on film, see what he did or see what he didn't do. So they nitpicked some type of plays where it was like a crucial down, and then he didn't get the ball, or it was like 4th and 1 and 3rd and 7, he didn't get the ball, and then the quarterback overthrew him, and then Marvin Harrison said that I won't ever go out and call out the receiver, call out the quarterback, because it's my job to catch the ball, you know. And he said that I could have caught that ball, but it is what it is. It's my fault, So Brian Dable, Brian Dable said Brian Dable said that. So you're not gonna call him out? And he said that no, because it's my job to get the ball. It's my job to catch the ball. His job is to throw me the ball. So right then and there, you can see that, you know, you can see that the connection wasn't there with him and Marvin Harrison. So if Daniel Jones overthrows him or don't connect with him, he's not going to call him out. Same thing with Roma Doomsday. Roma Doomsday was more of a quiet guy, like he's not going to go out his way to say, yo, you need to throw me the effing ball and this and like that. Like, no, he's not that type, you know? He's the type of say, okay, you missed me first time, just get me the second time and this and that. Like, and he told him yo, I can run any route tree that you want. You know what I'm saying? I played in cold climates, I played in hot climates. There's no climate that I haven't played in that I won't, flourish. But when they interviewed Malik Neighbors, totally different interview, you know. But that's what they felt, and it's not the first time the Giants drafted LSU receivers. Remember, they drafted Ruben Randall. Only played 2 years for them. You know, they also drafted Corey Webster. Like if I'm the Giants, I would draft more defensive players from LSU rather than offensive players, because all defensive players are more of a leader than offensive players. I mean, you look at Ike Taylor. You look at Ryan. No, no, not Ike Taylor. You look at Ryan Clark. You look at Corey Webster. They were leaders. Odell, Jalen Hyatt, not Jalen Hyatt, Malik Neighbors. It wasn't like offensive players at LSU are not. They're not leaders outside of the quarterback, obviously, but they're not leaders. And I don't know why the Giants are constantly going back and drafting LSU receivers. Now, I'm not saying that LSU program is bad. I think they're probably the top 5 programs that produce very good talent. But if I'm drafting players on the defensive side. I'm not drafting players on the offensive side because they're not going to give me nothing but headaches. You look at Tyrann Mathieu and his problems. You know what I'm saying? So, like he was within inches for not playing in the NFL. But Patrick Peterson gave the NFL, so like, yo, I'll mentor him. He'll be good, this and that. And he had a great rookie year. He had a strange rookie year, but he didn't really have a bad rookie year. And I really did want Tyrann Mathieu on the Giants, which I knew that he was not going to be on the Giants because, him and Odell Beckham Jr. had some friction. And I remember him saying that, oh, I know how to stop Odell Beckham Jr. Because I don't know if they played together at LSU. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But he said that I know how to slow down Odell Beckham Jr. And knowing him, he goes up against him every day in practice. So, you can't really tell him, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like he goes up against him in practice all the time. So maybe he does know how to slow down Odell Beckham Jr. But I wanted Tyrann Mathieu on the Giants. So when I had when I had Madden 2016 or when I had Madden 16, I played career mode, and I actually traded for Tyrann Mathieu, you know, um, and he was pretty good for us too. He had 10 tackles for loss. He had 5 interceptions. He had 151 solo tackles, and he had 2 sacks. I still remember. I still remember. Um, but that's when I did. This is when I didn't have YouTube at the time. Um, but it's gonna be a tight race. It really is. It's gonna be a tight race. But I think Roma Doomsday is gonna win Rookie of the Year. But again, it's gonna depend on how each team starts, how each receiver starts. Um, So let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Who will win Rookie of the Year? Rome, Marvin, or Neighbors? Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.